All right, what's up everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we've got some awesome information for you guys on the RPG front and also on Nintendo Switch. Before we get into that, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos first. Now let's go ahead and first start out with some new information on the big next Ys game. So I'm a big Ys fan myself. Ys 8 Lacrimosa of Dana is one of my favorite Nintendo Switch, and it looks like Falcom is gearing up for the next big Ys game, and we've got the first details plus some concept artwork right here for you guys. So the latest issue of the weekly Famitsu has a feature on the 35th anniversary of the Ys series. Has it really been that long? Yes, 35 long years, including the first concept artwork for the next entry in the series and an interview with Falcom president Toshihiro Kondo. Now, as pictured right here, the concept artwork depicts a young-looking adult fighting a giant bird-like creature alongside a woman wielding an axe and a shield. Their arms are connected by an aura-like string. Their attack also forms an X, so I'm guessing that's going to be a big theme or one of the themes with this game here. And here are some other notable tidbits from the interview with Mr. Kondo. This will be the 10th numbered entry in the Ys saga, so there's the actual thing right there, right? The 10X Roman numeral, so that makes sense. While it will retain the series' smooth and exhilarating gameplay, other areas are being re-examined. And while not quite a Souls-like, the challenge is to see whether it is possible to implement steadily paced one-on-one combat in which the player can watch the enemy's movement. It is a lighter feeling, Ys-style Souls-like. So very interesting that they're going that route, but it does make a little bit of sense. That seems to be a little bit of the fad or rage right now, making these epic type of one-on-one battles in action RPGs. So as long as they mix it up and they kind of have what makes Ys, then add in some new elements, that could be an interesting new take on the classic Ys formula. Now let's go and get into the next thing that he says here. Adal is around the age he was in Ys 1 and Ys 2. The story might be set outside of the Roman Empire. Changing weapon attributes by swapping between party members will change significantly, so that's a pretty big change up there. Now, while we cannot say platforms at this time, we want a wide range of players to enjoy it, and making Adal younger may have been for that purpose. It will be released as we're working on various platforms. So what this kind of confirms here is that it's not going to be usually the PlayStation-centric type of launch. So it seems like they're probably going to get Nippon Ichi software involved early and get them with a Switch port, or maybe even the next Nintendo Switch or the next platform that Nintendo's working on, and maybe even expanding out to Xbox as well, because we've seen some games get some Game Pass deals like Dragon Quest and Octopath and Scarlet Nexus and various other games that are Japanese RPGs. So maybe they're setting out for that, or maybe there's even a deal that's going to form for something like that on Xbox. So maybe it's going to be a multi-platform, and hopefully a day and date multi-platform would be nice, because Falcom is still a bit behind on that. And also, if you look at it, part of Nippon Ichi's record-breaking software sales was a lot of Falcom titles that were ported over to the Nintendo Switch. Nippon Ichi software had record-breaking sales, and a lot of that was due to the Nintendo Switch because of the Falcom titles being ported over. So to me, it makes sense, but once again, we still have to wait and see. But that's definitely encouraging to hear what Mr. Kondo had to say on platforms. Now, Kondo wants to play previously released Ys titles on modern platforms, so hopefully we get some nice ports of those. Providing new gameplay elements is vital, he says, to this series and just games in general. And whether it will be scenarios, actions, or systems, the game will incorporate something new. So they are looking to make Ys 10 or Ys X a very new but also familiar type of title. They don't want things to get stale, as the series is 35 plus years old at this point. So this is actually really encouraging and good to hear. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with this new Ys title. Like I said, I love Ys 8 Lacrimosa of Dana, one of my favorite Nintendo Switch RPGs, and I think that this one might actually be the best one if they're able to execute on everything that they want to get done in the game. So what are your thoughts when it comes to Ys 10 or the next Ys game? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic here, guys. We've got the Famitsu sales charts. What this does is it tracks these sales each week in Japan and seeing what's going down, what's selling best with physical retail sales. Digital sales aren't accounted for, but there's a couple of interesting notes that I want to point out here. So for the second week in a row, Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, the Hinokami Chronicles, is the highest selling title on the Nintendo Switch. The Switch specific port of the game has once again topped the charts with over 20,000 units sold. Physical only, it has over 111,000 units sold on the Nintendo Switch in a couple weeks. So that's pretty good considering it's a half-year-old port or so. It's selling right around what the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 versions combined to sell in its first 2 weeks. So that's definitely a positive, and also once again something that Sega has to look at with what they prioritize going forward. But I understand what they are going for, but I've been playing the game myself, which you guys are going to get some gameplay and a video of me talking about this game, maybe a couple videos, because I do like it. And Demon Slayer on Nintendo Switch is a very solid port, but it makes sense. CyberConnect 2 did the port along with Sega and whoever else they got to help out, and it's very much like a reskinned Ultimate Ninja Storm 4. It uses the same fonts, it has a lot of the same gameplay elements. I mean, there's various things that are the same in this game. Now, there's some mechanics that are switched over, but you can tell like the engine and stuff is definitely Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm. You know, it's that engine that they used, and those ports are solid on the Nintendo Switch. So it's good to see that the game actually turned out really well, especially visually. It looks absolutely fantastic. It's just running at 30 frames per second instead of 60 frames per second. So very good there for Demon Slayer. Once again, massive anime franchise at the top of the board there. Nintendo Switch Sports, you guys are seeing the top 10 as well. Mario Strikers, Kirby. It's pretty much a sweep for Nintendo Switch titles once again in the top 10. I do want to point out that Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, that game still in the top 10. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe still in the top 10. Minecraft, these games that are 4-5 years old or so at this point, still ranking up there in the top. And also Nintendo Switch Sports to still be number 2 as well. Pretty good. Now, when it comes to hardware sales, Nintendo Switch is still dominating the competition. 50,000 units sold. However, the Xbox Series definitely making a little bit of way in Japan with 6,695 units. Now, on the grand scale of things, that's pretty bad. That's not good sales. However, for how bad Xbox has done before in the past, I definitely feel that this is good for them. They're selling a pretty good amount and they're getting some stock out there for them. Overall, it's terrible when it comes to just overall sales and what you would want to sell in Japan, considering how Nintendo Switch is selling. But for Xbox, not so bad. And Sony's obviously having a severe stock shortage because they only sold 3,035 units, and there's definitely more demand than that because we've seen the sales balloon up to 40-something thousand or so when they actually have stock there. So good stuff all around for the top 10 and the Famitsu sales chart. So what do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic here, guys. We've got a surprising Western big impossible port that has been dated for the Nintendo Switch. We heard about this game at the last Nintendo Direct, and now we actually have some details on it, and that is No Man's Sky. We've also got some new footage, trailer with Sean Murray talking about it and everything, which is very interesting. But something that's even a bit more interesting, that the physical editions will be distributed by Bandai Namco. So they got into a deal with Bandai Namco in order to get this done. Now, the Nintendo Switch version of No Man's Sky will launch both physically and digitally on October 7th. Developer Hello Games announced. A physical edition for the PlayStation 5 will also be available on the same day. The physical editions will be distributed by Bandai Namco. Now, here's a little bit of an overview of this game, because at the beginning or the launch of this was a disaster. This was one of the biggest disasters and scandals in the history of gaming out there, in the history of the modern sense of gaming. I mean, they lied. They just flat out lied about what this game was going to be. But now you fast forward all these years later, and this game is beloved by so many people out there, by millions of fans. And I'm looking at this Switch version, and if this is actually the Switch version that they're showing off in this trailer, this is very good. But then when you start looking into exactly how No Man's Sky was developed and how small the game is, because the game isn't a massive game in terms of file size and everything, it's like, well, wait a minute. Hold up, I can see how they actually got this done, and what's going on here is procedurally generated. There's quite a number of things, graphical tricks that they use in order to make it look a lot more crazier than it actually is from a technical perspective, and for them to adapt this over to Nintendo Switch is pretty awesome. And I think that this version of the game, especially with a real physical version, is going to do quite well, despite being a very old port of the game, but it has all of the updates. Now, No Man's Sky is a game about exploration and survival in an infinite procedurally generated universe. Inspired by the adventure and imagination that we love from classic science fiction, No Man's Sky presents you with a galaxy to explore filled with unique planets and life forms and constant danger and action. In No Man's Sky, every star is the light of a distant sun, each orbited by planets filled with life. And you can go to any of them you choose. Fly smoothly from deep space to planetary surfaces with no loading screens and no limits. In this infinite procedurally generated universe, you discover places and creatures that no other players have seen before and perhaps never will again. So once again, embark on an epic voyage, find your own destiny, share your galaxy. You can trade convoys between stars, factions vie for territory, pirate hunts, and the unwary. I mean, the police are watching everywhere. This game's kind of crazy. So I think I'll finally give it a try when it comes out on the Nintendo Switch, because I know a lot of you guys will probably be interested if this is actually a quality port of this game or not, because he even said it like these impossible ports in the video that he did for it. So very cool to see, and I hope it turns out really well. So I'll be playing it when it comes out on October 7th. So what do you guys think about this No Man's Sky with the release date and the physical edition? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the final topic here, guys. We've got a brand new RPG release date here. Strategy RPG Tyrant's Blessing, which looks like a bite-sized, really cool looking, strategy RPG. We got a release date for it on the Nintendo Switch and PC. So Strategy RPG Tyrant's Blessing, one of the best names too, will launch for the Nintendo Switch and PC via Steam and Epic Game Store on August 8th. Publisher Freedom Games and developer Mercury Game Studio announced a demo is currently available for PC via Steam. They need to get that demo on Switch too. So here's a bit more about the game, guys. So the Tyrant landed in Tiberia bearing promises of a paradise without war, without suffering, and without death. All Tiberians had to do in order to enter his paradise was simply die at the hands of his dead army. The war was over before it even began, with thousands perishing in the tyrant's wake, only to be brought into his fold as undying thralls bound by magic. The few living warriors left are scattered across the remains of their homeland, tirelessly looking for a way to turn the tables on the tyrannical tyrant, leading a great uprising, defeat the dead army, and drive the monstrous overlord back into the depths of the sea from whence he came. Tyrant's Blessing is a tactical turn-based game where your ability to plan, adapt, and strategize is more important than min-maxing your units or finding the sharpest sword in the horde. Select battles every day, make challenging choices, and cleverly use the strengths of this ragtag insurgents to defeat the undead hordes and maybe, just maybe, bring real life back to Tiberia. Now, every day is a battle for survival. Tons of different stuff that you have to do, different choices that you have to make. Do you save this child? That can risk your time. What about the resources? Your morals will come into question here. Every battle is a risk. It's not going to be a cakewalk, guys. You can't just go in there and lackadaisically swing your sword around and hopefully you win. You got to actually strategize and plan out your battles, and you have to make sure that you do that all the time. So it's looking pretty good here. I like what's going on with this, and it looks like it's going to be a nice little bite-sized cool strategy RPG to play out there on condensed maps, to where you can kind of get in, get out, kind of pick up and play and really strategize your battles out. So these are the type of games that I definitely like playing when I'm on the plane, for example. Like if I'm flying somewhere, I like playing these type of games. Or if I'm in a hotel room lying down in bed, these are the type of games that I love to get and pick up. So I'll definitely be trying this little bite-sized strategy RPG out. I think it looks pretty cool. So what do you guys think about all the different topics that we discussed here, from the new Ys game to Demon Slayer and the Famitsu sales, No Man's Sky, and of course this strategy RPG Tyrant's Blessing? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and we will see you for the next video. Peace.